Here's the crosshatch beans. You can see what the wind did to them. See, that's what wind damage does. There's the wind damage, 120,000. These beans were planted April 16th. It's looked pretty good all year long. We're starting to see some sudden death come in. So that is something that we're seeing all around the state this year. We've had really good weather, so the beans were fully treated, but sometimes, just because you treat for disease doesn't mean you're not gonna get disease. But when you have a lot of right conditions for sudden death, it normally means you got a pretty good condition for good yield too. So I'm not concerned with it. I don't think it's gonna wipe us out at all. We still got tons of green leaf matter throughout there. Plenty of stored energy. I think we're gonna finish out strong. I think we'll be okay.
I've got a gut feeling this is gonna be a good year. The farmer is the eternal optimist.
We farm together as a family. If we all put our heads together, I don't know what we couldn't achieve.
Hopefully we hit 90 bushel. I think we could do it. Just have healthy plants and a good return on investment.
One of the worst things about farming is making a decision on planting depth. 1/4 of an inch on your depth, sometimes you won't get a stand.
As you can see, my pinky ring's empty, so obviously I didn't win. With this class of guys that's in Podfathers, I mean, anyone could win. With the weather we've had, I can't complain. So as part of it, like I said, I'd rather be able to try to control the disease pressure than try to worry about getting rain or no rain and stuff like that. So Mother Nature, for the most part, has treated us well. Looking through the canopy, you can see where these beans were laid down at one point in time. They're trying to stand back up. We was fortunate after the windstorm. We had a lot of good weather for it afterwards. Had a lot of sunlight. So when you get a lot of sunlight after that happens, the beans will try to stand back up towards the sunlight. These have been fed and treated. Fungicide, we put Revitech on them. Insecticide on them, which are really clean. The holes in the leaves you're seeing is actually from the hail that went through here. So I'm not complaining about that at all either. A lot of nodulation going on here, because now we're trying to fill up the pods. We still need that nitrogen to be able to flow. Normally your nodulation is going to slow down on the roots at this time in a plant's life. So if we can have enough adequate sulfur within the plant to be able to utilize as much nitrogen as we can at this point, that's what we're really trying to be after. Just try to keep it going a little bit longer, help with test weight. I think as long as we don't get hit with any more storms, no more wind, no more hail, I think we're gonna be okay. And as we're looking through this, you can see how stacked all the way through here the beans are. I'm really pleased with that. 6 pods per node, I like that. I guess it all starts at planting, really. Great product from Terramax, NewTek SIIF, we've been using that. You can see it's still carrying on through the entire season. We still have late season nodulation. So a product, once again, that we put on in furrow is still carrying on all the way at the end of the season. This is a product that we looked forever to find. I wanted a good in-furrow inoculant. Man, I just couldn't believe the nodulation we had so early. Thinking, no way this can work this good. So it's a good problem to have. I was not expecting a product to work that good, to last that long, and it has, and it's really helped with our soybean yields. In all honesty, these are still gonna be 100+ bushel beans. But I think we did have something special going here, where it was gonna be a number that I've never seen before. I still think we got a shot to be 100+. It's gonna be a good yield, don't get me wrong, but we took that top end off. We've lost several branches already, so I don't know what that's gonna equate to. We're, no pun intended, but we are out in the bean field with our pants pulled down, or the branches, so here we are.
copperhead concaves, to me, are the only way to go. This is a real return on our investment. Used less horsepower, less fuel, and did a better job cleaning. It's second to none.
I'm very fortunate that I've been working with Concept Agritech now for 4 years. We have 12 Concept Agritech plots out right now.
Man, this is like drinking water. It does that much for you.
I had a couple of the guys that I'm mentoring. I call them my bean babies. One of them was here today. We learned a lot. We had Paul Miles, he was out today from the Montage group. So we learned a few things. I showed him some of the things that we were trying to overcome, some problems. We pulled some plants, but you'll get to see we had a lot of beans that fell down flat. We're gonna have problems with them. A lot of our beans are flat. A lot of our lower stems, they're broke off. You know, I don't know. We'll kind of see how it goes from here. I don't know where we're gonna get. I'm hoping, you know, I'll be somewhere close to last year, but I think I'm definitely lower than that. I kind of grew a big plant and didn't set enough pods. Greg's out in the middle of the field. Get out of the middle of my field! Are you really pulling up plants already? You can't have nothing. This is why I'm losing this year, these knuckleheads out there. I don't want to walk out in the middle of the field and they're like, there goes my crop. I'm gonna walk out in this and tear.
Look, you literally can't even see the roads. I can barely see it.
Well, it's because we got all that weather and stuff's down terrible. And I can't even get the branches out of here.
I don't think they need to stand up. They're gonna intertwine together and gonna stay there.
Man, the branches are breaking off so bad, Paul. When you pull them up, all the bottom branches fall right off.
I mean, some of these look like trees.
I mean, but you see, well, I definitely got branching, but I definitely aborted a bunch of pods too.
It's one plant. One plant.
Did the bottom branches break right off?
Yeah, they broke.
Yeah, see what I mean?
But there is beans. Now, they got such a root system on them, they ain't.
You can't get it out, you break them off. See, all these are breaking off real bad.
Yeah, just like this.
And I'd like to have, we put a bunch of silica in, a bunch of calcium in, and we tried a bunch of stuff trying to get them to hold together, but they break so ridiculously easy. I mean, you pulled it up, but look how many branches broke off. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Well, I think
6.
that was because I squeezed it to pull it up,
Understandable, but a lot of these at the bottom, they broke off real easy. But look at the base of that stem. Man, there's 8 5-bean pods on there.
How about the branch with no pods on it?
See, if you look at the bottom part of all these plants, and we don't have there's no pods even setting until halfway up the plant. We burned them back too late at some point, and we ended up having a problem. See all these bottom ones? They aborted all of that stuff. We've run through a lot of problems. I mean, Greg, didn't you have the same problem over there? We made multiple burns and kept going with it and wouldn't stop with it because, I mean, we're all trying to be aggressive and we're all trying to beat, the #1 guy. So what you end up doing is honestly, we made mistakes, but mistakes we learn. One of the things that we were seeing early on, and me and Paul had talked a lot about, see this particular field here, this field was a mistake. So again, with success, sometimes you make mistakes. My father put anhydrous on this field. Him and Alexander usually put down all the anhydrous on corn ground. So that Dad came in here, he put anhydrous on the field. By the time that we got here and we realized he had put anhydrous on this whole thing. So I've been fighting a problem all year long with no nodulation. What we were seeing early on is there wasn't hardly any pods coming. We put a bunch of different products on from Advanced Yield. We put a bunch of stuff on from Monties, and we improved these plants, and we overcame. So that's, you know, there's no one silver bullet, but what we are finding out is you got all these great people in your arsenal, and we are using each one of them for something just a little bit different. We put a bunch of AY soybean stuff from Atley and a couple of his other products, some of his new products that me and Greg did a bunch of. We're actually seeing some pretty good success with it, and with the product from him, it's like a stress reducer, and it's pretty tremendous from what we've seen. What did you see over there?
The blossoms is phenomenal. They've really just held on to them all. There's no abortion anymore, and you don't see any stress from the heat or any of that.
So if you guys want to ride over to that other farm real quick, we'll take a look at them.
We want the bottom canopy to be healthy with a good fungicide. We use Revitec on it.
But on our farm, we got to average a 6 bushel better with the Revitec fungicide than any other fungicide.
One of the bigger reasons this harvest has gone so much smoother is we got 2 Fent T9s over there. They've just been pumping the grain. They've done a great job. I've been very pleased with everything. Today is August 23rd. We are here in Cedarville, Ohio, and I think we're going to go look at some crops. And we also drug up Chad Henderson. I think he's trying to scout some stuff when he shouldn't be, but see how it is. Now he's up here trying to make some wagers on things.
Now that's what we do on the whole CornWarriors Podfather thing anyway. We just happy Gilmore in it all the time. You can ask a lot of folks, and that's what they think too.
Just swing big.
Just swing big.
You want to go look at some crops? How about we just start with some beans?
I'm good with that.
So we had sudden death that is really bad.
Beans is really filling out nice, aren't they? Mm-hmm. How thick it is in the pod.
That's one thing we haven't had in years. So here's a problem. So just by looking at the beans, I think they have good height. From the wind we had, look how laid over they are. Having higher population is actually helping me this year. It's hurting me to have the bigger, bushier beans. Bigger, bushier beans is the ones that's not standing back up after the windstorm. My population is a little bit higher and we got more of a single line bean.
We'll see that at home as well. We've done some tests with studying the population on from 80,000 to 100,000 to 120,000, and we won't have a half a bushel difference in it. And I mean, that's clean money. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about just planting 80,000 beans versus planting 120,000, and you know, I'm not saying you can go out here and you can just plant 80,000 all the time, but when you have the right growing conditions, or you know that, hey, I can get this field up, it's got good weather, I can get it up, I don't mind at all planting 80, 90, 100,000 beans. But then when the plant gets so wide, it seems like that it will try to go down quicker.
Yeah. We have wind events, but normally not this late in the season. You know, the beans were looking great, and then all of a sudden, just bam, you know, the wind came through. But here's the problem that I'm seeing on a lot of my beans. Yeah. Right there. The whole branch with beans on it missing. So where we've seen where the wind has came through, it's actually pushed it over and snapped the branching on it. Because, oh yeah, by the way, we also had 4 inches in 20 minutes and 2.5 inch hail.
Yeah, so that didn't help them.
No, so it didn't help none.
Well, maybe he'll find his 5-bean pod today. He's looking pretty hard at it.
Not gonna happen. You know what would really burn my butt is if Matt would come up here and just find one like that. I swear.
You just leave.
I think he just carries them in his pocket.
Just get in his truck. Just get in the truck and leave. Yeah. Just I'm gonna leave you here.
Man, I'd be mad. You know, overall, I think we're set up for the best bean crop that we've ever had. One of my highest yielding bean fields that I had it took 30 days for full emergence. The thing is, we're planting earlier, so it's a double-edged sword. We're planting in cold temperatures, cold soil temperatures. Well, you're not gonna have things emerge evenly, but you want that more daylight, you want that longer growing season, so you gotta take the good with the bad.
The whole theory behind it, you know, they come out of the ground and, you know, a bean don't know. It don't know when it comes out of the ground, it just knows it's supposed to do this the day with the sunlight it has. And so it's the same way. I hit a wall with double crop beans, you know, that's best I've ever done is like 74 bushel. And I mean, it don't matter nutrient-wise, what you pour on it, don't pour on it, don't matter. You just run out of daylight.
That's where I'm opposite. I think beans need more sunlight than corn. Beans are a direct harvester of sunlight. That's how they completely make all of their yield. These are solar panels all the way through. That's why it's so important to be able to keep the plant green and healthy and the leaves healthy at the bottom of the plant. I've never had a year where I'm like, best beans I've ever had, best corn I've ever had. If you've had the best growing season for corn, that means our beans are probably gonna be a little off. If I had the best growing season for beans I've ever had, and that means my corn's gonna be a little off. Yeah, and that's what I guess I'm complaining about, you know, what we're looking at with the lodged beans. You know, they've almost been lodged now for a month. It's still gonna be a really good yield, but it's what could have been. And I think it could have been a number that we've never seen before. Not too many people wake up in the morning and go, I have a legitimate chance at 100 plus bushel beans. What it takes for that, for me, is a heck of a lot easier to go 300 bushel corn than it was 100 bushel beans. And we didn't start getting these consistent high yields on beans until we started going with a planter, the Exact Emerge, that was capable of placing every bean at 99% plus accurate. Before it was, well, if you had some here, you can throw everything you want to, it's not gonna make it up. It's because of the way it went into the ground. You're never gonna recover that the rest of the year. You're never.
There's a lot to having a research spot. I'm always talking about, you know, if you don't have a research and development, if you don't have 10 acres or 20, something where you're playing with something to where you know, I mean, a farm may come available that's been treated real bad, hadn't been fertilized, and you know how to take off and grow with it through foliars instead of putting out dry fertilizer, you know, I mean, there's always avenues that you need to keep learning, you know, keep pushing forward.
Well, that's what we always say, we're an 8,000 acre research farm.
Yeah.
And you're standing right now in the middle of a research plot right now.
It'd feel pretty good to sit in with combine here and go to that end right there and it'd be clicking off, you know, even 90 to 95 bushel. We'll take that all day long, won't we?
Yeah, man, we think we got a pretty good chance here to throw up a pretty big number.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, it looks good.
With the soybeans Terramax, we brought it out and instantly, man, I just couldn't believe the nodulation we had so early. If you haven't heard of them, you better get to know them because their products are here to play.
Improve germination in your fields with the Germinator Closing Wheel from Farm Shop MFG. Our spike design with inner rim shoulder firmer seals your seed with a firm vein of soil, providing maximum seed-to-soil contact. In low moisture conditions, this vein of firmness has the added benefit of wicking moisture up from the ground, creating the ideal environment for maximum germination. For more info and to order a set of Germinator Closing Wheels for your planter, visit farmshopmfg.com.
I had my guy out here the other day from UPL. I brought him out here to show him this specific problem. He goes, dude, you got me. I don't know. He's like, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen stems like that, but I've never seen anything break off like that. Best beans I ever grew was a couple years ago. I did one and it was 152 bushel and my final stand was 72, 73. Now, I didn't have any circumstances. There was no wind pressure. There was no, I mean, I had no damage at all. It was a perfect year. This year, tornado, we had a flatline wind. We got gooseneck corn out there. We've got snapped off corn out there. So, I mean, that pile of crap up there is from the tornado coming in front of the house and knocking down a tree, almost hit my wife's car. So, I mean, we had some serious problems. So, and that's overcoming it. All right, let's go look at some more stuff. Hey, do you want to walk in your 30-inch beans, make you feel better?
Yeah.
It's 30s on that side. Are you serious? You probably will.
30 inches, baby.
They're not near as good looking as them other ones.
I told you I wasn't aggressive.
These ones actually look like mine.
You're a cherry picking son.
You told me to.
Hey, Temple is the king of the cherry picking.
Listen, I didn't pick up today. If anybody was cherry picking today, it was you.
Well,
so let's walk out in the middle. They were next to each other. How am I cherry picking?
what's up with that? Oh, that's because
sprayer
the
track.
hit it. Yeah.
Sprayer track.
Yeah, beep, beep. Well, you know, if you reach out away from the sprayer track, there is like no branching.
Nope. I mean, it is here and there, but not for the most part. Would it make you happy if I walked you over to the other side where the 30-inch beams are?
I'd be way happier.
You'd be way happier?
Way happier.
All right. Now, what I will tell you is I've never played high yield situation with 30-inch beams. This is what they are. This is 145,000. It's AY soybean was on top of them. It's had 2 or 3 fungicide treatments, which that's how we treat all of our acres. It's had 2 different micronutrient packs that we run on commercial acres anyway. So, but that's all it's had. It hadn't had anything any different. That side of the road has. It's had a lot of different treatments on it. You know, so I mean, honestly, return for investment, maybe, I don't know, I've never played high yield plot with 30-inch beams, but I'll try it next year.
I think if you cut that population back a little bit and you just gap those just a little bit.
Well, think about what Corey did. He cut them back to 60,000 plants per acre, and he planted it one way and then made a diamond and planted it on a 45 the other way. And now he's got plants that all think that there's 60,000 plants per acre. They don't know any better. And with them being triangled in there, there's no rows. Maybe they hold each other up better. I don't know. I mean, what would this plant be at 100,000? It would be a completely different animal. Look at that plant over there at 145 versus my house at 100. It's a completely different animal. Every time you change something, you change the structure of the plant. Look, it's a 7-bean pod. Oh, shh, don't tell anybody. It's a 7-bean pod.
That's unbelievable.
All right, well, it's been great having the Podfather crew here today. We scouted a bunch of fields. We got to see a bunch of stuff. Didn't find any 5-bean pods. I still don't think I have a shot. I still think that Corey and them guys they definitely got me. Corey's probably some of the reasons that I actually have any success back there this year. I'm gonna go back and we're gonna eat dinner so I can wrap up this farm credit field day, but I appreciate you guys stopping by.
We're burning these rice fields off. We're gonna keep going. It's getting a little smoky where we're at, so we'll just keep on moving.
You can see the scars where all the branching were. Now they're just single line beans. Makes you wonder what could have been.